What's up, everybody? Finesse University at you with another one. So, weed stocks are running right now. They're up pretty big time today after APHA dropped their earnings. They beat on revenue, and they're up like 17 or 18% today. And a lot of these other weed companies, Tilray's up big time. CGC's up, ACB, you name it. Pretty much the whole sector has reacted positively to this news. And I think going forward, to sustain this run, because a lot of these companies are up, pretty substantially since over the past couple months. Since October, a lot of these companies have doubled in value. So to continue this move forward, I think we're going to need more positive media coverage, more news to come out, more positive earnings. The CGC earnings coming up in a few weeks. I think February 11th. ACB not too long after that. How are people going to react to those earnings? Are we going to see any more legalization? Are we going to see declassification of cannabis federally, or is Arkansas going to legalize? And then, are we going to get media coverage for that? I think that's going to be the key in sustaining this run going forward. I think the tides turned back a couple weeks ago when the Democrats took the Senate. After those Georgia runoff elections, when the Democrats took the Senate, we started to see a change in sentiment. And the sentiment's the big thing. How is this the sector that everyone wants to be in? Bitcoin gets its hype. Cryptos get their hype, and everyone wants to throw their money into cryptos. But there comes a point where it gets overvalued, or people think, all right, it's ran up so much that I think the risk to reward here is not worth it. So I'm going to take my money, I'm going to put it somewhere where there's a higher potential for returns. And if we keep getting this good news, if these companies keep beating revenues, and we're getting more legalization news and whatever else, then we might continue to see upward momentum going forward over the next few months. I'm bullish. Weed right now flipped over. After that, the Democrats took the Senate on like out of nowhere. I switched from bearish to bullish. I was shorting ACB for a while, for better of two months. Since like November or October. It might have been 3 months, because I violated the pattern day trader rule, so I couldn't day trade. So I was just like in a swing position, shorting ACB, because ACB is a shit company in my opinion. But it does run. When it runs, when the sector goes, ACB goes, and it bounces, and it squeezes the shorts out, and it'll run 20-30%. And I actually got my account blown up. Well, I didn't get it blown up, but I took a pretty substantial loss back in November on a short squeeze. It was like the ACB was up like 100% in a day, like 90%. I would have never expected that, but it squeezed me out of my short position back in November. Might make a video on that later explaining. I will make a video on that later explaining what a short squeeze is. But going forward, weed sector, it's going to take news to keep this positive sentiment up, to keep the momentum going. Legalization, earnings. Like, I've made a good amount of money gambling on earnings, which is never a smart thing to do. But like, I've had multiple $1,000 days, like by multiple, like 2 or 3, gambling on earnings, which isn't smart to do, because I could have lost just as much. But sometimes when the sentiment is positive and people don't really know what to expect, are we going to beat earnings or what? Or like, we want to see something good. Like, whenever people want to see something good out of earnings, even if they don't beat the earnings, even if it's just like, oh, we reached our revenue predictions or expectations, we did just enough. People will still react positively to that, as opposed to whenever the overall market sentiment is negative and there's not a whole bunch going on, they could beat earnings a lot of times, and people buy the price up so much heading into the earnings date that by the time they actually do beat earnings, there's no one left to buy, because the price is so inflated already. There's no one left to to buy those earnings, so that you see big sell-offs on earnings. So a lot of times earnings plays are really big for volatility, but it can be also very risky, and you could lose your ass on them. So you got to be careful for that. But they are news catalysts. They are, these earnings are going to be part of the news catalyst going into these next couple weeks, the next couple months, that are going to determine the direction of the whole sector as a whole. And I'm hoping, I'm looking to buy bullish. I've seen these things run in 2016 when I first started trading, 2018 after Canopy Growth got bought out by Constellation Brands, and it kind of legitimized the weed sector. Saw that huge run. After that, we might see, with the right news, we might see CGC back up to $50 and ACB. Who knows what the ACB is going to do? They did their split. They split their stock and dilution and all that other stuff. But we might see these companies, get that momentum and get some of that mojo back. And these American companies haven't even, we saw the legalization in Canada, but we haven't even seen the legalization in America yet. Like, we haven't seen what the sector can do. Whenever we're talking about, for potential news, we're talking, deschedulization federally. Like, what? Like, there's gonna be hype. Like, a lot of these companies aren't even, probably won't even be making money. They won't even be profitable. But just, the media attention. Oh, weed's gonna be legal. Weed is, or cannabis legalized federally, or in this state, in this state, in this state. We have new ballots out. Just the hype and the media attention is gonna bring investors looking for a return into the sector. So there's no time frame on this, but I think right now we have some positive sentiment. It's going to take some more news, some more positive legislation and earnings going forward to maintain this momentum. So I'm going to keep you guys updated. If you got any value out of this, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment if you have anything you want me to cover or whatever, and I'll get back to you guys next time.